Hello there, and welcome to Ace's Wild Special Halloween Edition. I am dressed up as the world's most underpaid fantasy football analyst. So, not too creative this year, but I do have a special guest as we head into the 9th week of the season on Hallows Eve tonight. I am joined by the Academy Award Oscar the Grouch, a good friend of mine. He was just dropping by the neighborhood. How you doing? How you doing, Oscar?
Good. I'm kind of grouchy, but how are you?
Yeah, I bet. I hear that you are actually a fan of fantasy football. I didn't know they did much, playing in the trash. But how's your team doing this year?
It's big on Sesame Street. It's big. My team's doing okay. I mean, for the most part, they're good. But I got one big grouchy gripe.
What's that?
Tight ends. Tight ends are so bad for me. I don't know what it is. Jermaine Gresham, he's the worst. I played that guy for like 6 straight weeks. Didn't do squat for me. You know what he played like? He played like Jermaine Gresham. So I had enough. I cut him. You know what he did the next week?
I have a guess.
He scored a touchdown.
That was my guess.
Yeah.
That always happens.
So I played Heath Miller instead. Steeler Nation, baby. Woo.
Yeah, you got the gold?
I got the gold. Things were going good. He scored a touchdown, and I was excited. And then it got called back because it grazed the turf.
So many rules these days.
Yeah. So I was pissed off. So tight ends this year are just terrible for me.
We saw another grouch actually on the sidelines this past week. Des Bryant. Is he a friend of yours?
Yeah. Me and him are really tight. We're grouchy friends. Very tight.
Yeah. Well, he looked like he got put in line by DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware. Now there's a guy you don't want to mess with. Very big, meaty hands on him. You wouldn't want those up your butt. Nah, it'd be too uncomfortable. It wouldn't be pleasant. But Jim Henson, on the other hand, very soft, dainty hands. Very nice, delicate flowers. Very, very pleasant to the touch.
That's a side of puppeteering I never really thought about. Was the hand and the that's a dark underbelly.
You never can be too safe.
Yeah, lots of testing there on Sesame Street. So the other part of your costume, it's not really a costume, but we'll call it one on Halloween, is the Academy Award that the Oscar is named after, nicknamed. So do you have any awards or anything you can share with us today?
Actually, I do. I've got one big award I'd like to hand out, and that's the Wally Pipp Award to quarterback Matt Flynn. Wally Pipp, look it up. Basically, the deal is, every year this guy thinks he's the guy, he's the man, whether it's in Seattle or Oakland. And you know what happens? He always loses the job to somebody else.
Well, the younger guys kind of come out of nowhere and play well.
Well, younger and blacker. Let's not forget that they're blacker.
Oh, come on, Oscar. That's not. We can't do that.
I can say that. I mean, I'm green. I'm gold. I'm a grouch of color. I can say these things.
All right, Oscar. I think I hear your music.
I mean, there's lots of good black quarterbacks. Dante Culpepper, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham.
That music's playing loud.
I don't. Where's your orchestra? You know what? I'm out here. This grouch is gone. See you later.
Oh, Oscar. Thanks for stopping by in our neighborhood here in the guest bedroom studio. Always a treat or a trick, depending on the mood he's in. But speaking of tricks or treats, we're going to get into our special segment this week, Trick or Treat. Nobody came to my door tonight. No one knocked on it. A little disappointed. Didn't have any candy. Wasn't going to answer it, but still feel a little left out. So I'm going to do a little trick or treating with our league. I picked a trick and a treat from the draft only that people took, and I'm going to go through them by team alphabetically. And remember, this is draft only, so no waiver wire or trades. These are the tricks or the treats of what you selected. Chris Campbell, Miles Austin, $9. 3 unspectacular weeks and has been injured since. Dropped by CC, 12 points outside of the top 100 receivers. Trick. His treat, though, on the other side of the receiver spectrum, Josh Gordon, $8. He's the 14th receiver, even with his 2 games out, and he has 78 points. Treat. Paul Sinquina, his trick is David Wilson, $9. Injuries, fumbles, and Tom Coughlin have really forced this potential starter to the bench. So Paul's dropped him. He was the 66th running back with 17 points. His treat, however, is hometown favorite Red Rifle Andy Dalton for $30. This is the 6th highest QB in the league. He was a pretty good value at $30. And Paul had faith he was going to take the next step this season, and he did. Kyle Fallhaver. His trick was Maurice Jones-Drew. $31. Kyle's most expensive player. 22nd running back this year. He struggled to find the end zone only 2 times. His treat is Matthew Stafford. He's the second most expensive guy Kyle bought. But he is the 3rd ranked QB in the league, and at $25, that's really good value. 199 points, and 2nd in yardage also. David Hosmer has been tricked all season by not Reggie, that was a trick of itself, by Roddy White. $29 he spent on him, expecting big things, and he has been the 108th receiver. Can't seem to stay healthy, only 12 points. Fred Jackson, on the other hand, is a treat. $1. He's a bit of an afterthought in the draft, but he is now the 9th running back with 6 touchdowns and 100 points. Connor McPeak's trick has been Michael Vick. $30 spent on him. He could have been elite, could have really put this team over the top, but he's been very frustrating as a guy that can't stay healthy, and has really tricked Connor. So 21st QB in rankings is just a shame. Could have been elite. His treat, however, is a guy everyone had some doubts about how much he'd get the ball in Denver in this new offense. Wes Welker, $9. He has 9 touchdowns and is in the top 5 for point scorers in the league. So basically $1 a touchdown right now. Pretty good treat for Connor. Richie McPeak, his trick is Tom Brady. $60. He's been the 20th quarterback in performance, and when you spend $60 out of your $200 on a QB, you better be getting more out of that from him. He's tied for the 2nd most expensive in the league, in fact. His treat, however, Julian Edelman, Brady's receiver. He only spent $1 on him, and although he's been slowed down lately, he's the 27th receiver with 59 points. And for $1, that ain't bad. Andrew Pedenpool, tricked by Trent Richardson. Spent $50 on him. It's really not the stud running back $50 should buy. And he's the 34th ranked running back now with only 2 TDs and 50 points. His treat, however, Jake Locker, $4. And even with the injury, he's been impressive when he's played. He's the 26th scoring QB, 106 points. But he's also part of the deal that Tim put together to acquire Adrian Peterson. So that is quite a treat. Jonathan Pimpus, trick. Went for the hometown guy, Greg Little, for $1. It's hard to peg a dollar flyer as a trick, but really, Pimpus had a lot of other solid picks, so this is going to be his trick. He is the 80th receiver, 27 points. Didn't work out. Pimpus dropped him. His treat, however, another receiver on his roster, $4 for Deshaun Jackson. $4 for the 7th receiver? Yes, please. Alex Quay. Greg Jennings for $8 is the trick. He is viewed as kind of a target monster potential kind of guy in Minnesota offense this year, leaving Green Bay. And he's really been anything but. He's the 53rd receiver, and he only has 45 points. That is quite a trick. But Moreno is a treat. No Sean Moreno for $1. Again, an afterthought in Quay's draft, I'd assume. He has become a surprise running back fantasy stud. He's the number 2 running back in the league right now with 128 points and a league-leading 8 TDs. And he was also traded for AJ Green. So, big upgrade at receiver for Quay from Noshawn. Tyler Vordenberg, tricked by Ray Rice. $52. There were a lot of tricks on Tyler's roster, actually. That may be why he's lost a few in a row. But this is the most expensive mistake. He's the 35th running back in the league. He's battled health issues all season, gathering only 49 points for Tyler. But his treat has been quite a treat. Jordan Cameron for $1. He's the preseason favorite sleeper for a lot of people. but he's really lived up to expectations. He's the number 2 tight end in the league with 95 points. And for a buck, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good dollar menu there. David Warner, $47 for CJ Spiller. Tricked. He's the 39th running back, also battling injuries. He has not lived up at all to his hype and may not get the chance to this season, depending on his health and how Fred Jackson is doing. Looks like Jackson's firmly established himself as that red zone guy. 43 points for Spiller. The treat. Another running back on his roster, Reggie Bush, $18. He's the number 8 running back. He was kind of one of those exciting prospects in the draft this year, going into Detroit's offense. People were excited about him catching passes, but also weren't sure about his health and kind of how everything would shake out. So Dave got him for a good value of $18. He has now contributed 107 points to Dave's lineup. Robert Zirkle, Monty Ball, $13. Trick. We're seeing a lot of running backs here in the trick category recently. It's always hard to judge the rookie running backs, even more so. But this guy did seem like a sure thing. If you remember going into the season, he seemed like the guy in Denver that was kind of the buzz, and he clearly wasn't. He's now the 60th ranked running back, has 22 points, kind of in the doghouse right now too, so it doesn't look like it's getting any better. His treat, however, has been also pretty sweet treat. Jordy Nelson, $9. Injuries have helped a little bit improve his status, but he is a very talented receiver, and he's the number 4 wide receiver in the league with 106 points. So quite a treat for to get an elite guy at that price. All right, guys. So be safe tonight. Make sure as you're going through that pillowcase of candy, have your parents check it. Make sure there's no needles, syringes, razors, spit, herpes, dog hair, pubic hair, anything that someone could put in or on candy, or put candy in and then take it out of and then give to you. I don't know, man. I'd have the parents check that, and maybe you should have them draft with you next year to avoid tricks. Moving on. Time for rankings. Rankings. All right, let's do this. Number 12, Tyler Bordenberg. 12 last week. He's starting the running back combo of the old dreadlock Predators, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Steven Jackson. Has 5 losses in a row. That's all that needs to be said. Number 11, also number 11 last week, Richie McPeak. He has 4 starting spots still open, so we'll see what he does there. And below Powell and Brandon Bolden may very well be the most uninspiring running back combo ever. 2 losses in a row. Number 10, Dave Warner. 10 also last week. He gets DeMarco Murray back. He has 2 athletic starting quarterbacks, though, even without Manuel out, that can turn in some big games on certain weeks. So, see what happens. Number 9, dropping big time from number 5 last week, Connor McPeak. He has Peyton on a bye. That certainly adds to the trouble this week. But he also traded away Adrian Peterson. He's now 3-5 and faces a tough road to the playoffs. This week is a must-win. Number 8, staying at number 8 from last week, Rob Zirkle. He has 1 QB going this week, but he's also playing a guy that has 1 QB, Connor. And he did win with 1 QB last week, miraculously on the legs and taunting of Golden Tate. At number 7, Tim, moving up from 9 last week. He has 2 wins in a row. He's added Adrian Peterson to his lineup whilst only losing a reserve quarterback. And he also upgraded a tight end with Greg Olsen. Number 6, Alex Quay, dropping from number 4 last week. He has great wide receiver depth, but a loss this week to Paul would drop him below 500. So he's really in a situation where he needs to turn that on. Number 5, moving up a spot from last week, is Kyle Fallhaber. He is the 3rd most in points, has 2 wins in a row, but he does have some issues this week as he has no second running back and a bit of a weak receiving core. Number 4, moving up a few spots last week from number 7, myself, Dave H. I'm at 5-3. I think I still need some wide receiver help with White out and Fitz on the bye. Number 3, sticking there from last week, Chris Campbell. His streak stopped at 4 by losing to Rob's 1 QB team. But this team is still very, very, very good. Number 2, also remaining at 2 from last week, Jonathan Pimpus. I think this team is pretty sick. He has 3 high scores already. He is a pretty elite and deep lineup. 2 wins in a row now. He is the most in points. It's going to be tough to beat him, but hey, if the number 1 guy on our power rankings doesn't lose, I don't think Pimpus moves up. So, Pimpus is at number 2, which makes our number 1 guy this week staying at number 1 for a few weeks in a row, Paulson Quina, our man from Mexico. He's down there now. We saw him making some moves this week, and he has a big test this week, honestly. He has 6 wins in a row. He's the second member of the 1,000-point club, but he really needs to beat Quay to keep moving forward. It's going to be a big test there. So that is our power rankings for the week. It's been a real treat, but I want to do more important things like read tweets of the week. So we're going to do 2 tweets of the week. First one comes to us from Robert Zirkle. He says, at Ace of Spades, who says you need 2 QBs in this league? And that was because he pulled out a victory against CC with big performances from other guys. And I wouldn't say that's the recommended way to play, but very happy for him staying alive, moving to 5-3 this week. Second guy is a guy that is not 5-3. In fact, if you flip that record to 3-5 and then add another loss, that is where he's at. So he has a shocking realization as he looks at his team and says, my entire fantasy team is just a board of questionable, doubtful, and out post-it notes. Alright guys, it's been a pleasure hosting our special Halloween episode on All Hallows Eve. Hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday yourselves. If you see any orbs floating around back here or anything throughout the episode, please let me know. I do not have to sleep here tonight. I have lots of other friends, so many friends, that would take me in to save me from apparitions and ghosts. So, tweet us, Ace of Spades FF. You could be the tweet of the week. You win nothing but adoration and love from the 15 people that watch the show. So, that's pretty sweet. It's pretty good. I'll talk to you guys next week, and until then, may all your football fantasies come true on the digital gridiron. Take care. I'm speeding out of here, going to find that grouch. What do you got going on over there?
Just dancing, man. Just dancing.
Feeling that beat.
I like the music. Pulses through my soul.